Okay, the lace challenge. This is very informal, unofficial. All this is for me is I have to figure out how to get these, just 4 spools and a bit of vinyl strap that were sent to me recently, very kindly, thank you. I have to get these to fit into my lace case. And I've actually been putting this off for a while because I really couldn't think of how I would do this. I had a small idea that if I got rid, I have this orange pom-pom trim that's very vintage and very crushed, and I thought if I could get rid of that, or at least move that out of the lace and trim, since I'm never going to use that on clothes or dolls, but I might use it on crafts, move that to my craft randomness box. Maybe that would help, but I finally realized that what I really need to do is all the stuff that I have on spools, it needs to come off the spool, because these spools, how much volume these spools take up compared to what's actually on them, yeah. So that will help a lot in getting everything to fit and fit better. So again, this week I'm calling this the lace challenge. That was kind of to be humorous when Ann Picaro received a bunch of lace and she said, this isn't going to fit. So I realized, no, I had lace and it wasn't fitting. So this is sort of the unofficial challenge to just get your lace in shape. So I'm going to open this and you can see what a terrible mess I have. And I know, I'm sure some people are going to look at this and say that's nothing. But considering the fact that most of the time when I sew, I completely forget about adding lace trim, this is a lifetime supply. So my organization is just putting similar stuff in a plastic bag. So like here's the black lace. I ordered all this lace from Deb's Lace and it's on cards because that's how it was when I got it. I have in the past tried putting lace onto cardboard, and something about the winding it up and the way it spins, it just really annoys me. So the stuff that I put on cardboard in the past, it's still on the cardboard, it's fine, I'm not going to take it off the cardboard, but I'm really not too keen on putting anything else on cardboard. So there's my bag of black lace. Again, this came in this bag. There are a few things in there that I have added that I did not get from Deb's Lace, but most of this is Deb's Lace, and Deb's Lace sells, basically they sell it by the 5-yard length, although they'll have clearance stuff that's less than 5 yards sometimes, and I've only ordered from Deb's Lace once, but I'm very happy with what I have ordered. Okay, this is the bulky bobble trim that did I say, or have I just been thinking? Yeah. The only reason I have this is because it was in a grab bag that had stuff that I didn't want in it. And this is just, it's crushed. It is worn out, and it was stored, and it's just squished. It was squished when I got it. I didn't squish it. And there's a bit of it. Which, oh, 2 sizes. I might use this for something Halloween. Like I said, I'm not going to get rid of it. I might put it in the other craft box, which is mostly has felt in it. And again, as with most of my organization, I didn't buy that box to be my craft storage / felt storage box. I bought the box, then I had to figure out what to put into it. And apologies for when I don't make eye contact with the camera, because I do finally remember to flip the screen around. So of course I look at the bright thing most of the time. But anyway, so that's going to help make space. And then just so much randomness, so much stuff's got to. Okay, this I will not take off of the core, because this obviously there's a lot of it, and having the core will help. And so this is something I got in the, we had the doll meetup, and this was a swap. And I did try ruffling it with my sewing machine ruffler foot. And I think it looks really cool, except it's also, my ruffler foot got cranky a few places and didn't ruffle it properly. I mean, I should have honestly just made the ruffles larger. If you've ever used a ruffler, you can control every aspect of it, and I just get impatient and want to ruffle as much as possible. But anyway, so yeah, this one I will keep the core, but pretty much everything commercial, like all this Halloween stuff, and you can see in the corner here, all that has to come off the cores, the spools, and it will go into, let's see, I have my supply of eternally reused plastic bags, because plastic lasts forever, why not reuse it, right? Again, very roughly, it's lace over here, it's, in theory, everything else over here. So I have, this is, I used to have my ribbons separated by one bag of satin and one bag of grosgrain, but now it's just the satin and the grosgrain are in here. So that's printed, right? Yeah, including printed. So that will be where these go. So let's see if these are as easy to get. And I will recycle all this stuff. I don't just toss it. I had a woman at work once kind of make fun of me because I recycle the cores from toilet paper and paper towels, but it's cardboard it recycles. That I will throw away. So just trying to see how easy. I've done this in the past, but I can't remember if I had to just give up and rewind everything, or if it can just slide off. Oh yeah, because it's taped in the end. But still. That's easier than taking it all off and rewinding it. My trash can is right there. So this satin ribbon that's printed goes into the ribbon bag. Another satin ribbon that's printed with vaguely Halloween. I mean, technically it's Halloween. I mean, it says Halloween, but come on. This is not a Halloween specific print. This isn't either, although I have a harder time divorcing orange from Halloween because I'm not real fond of orange in general, but I am fond of Halloween. So I don't mind pumpkins and stuff for Halloween. But come on, purple and black is just, I would say me every day. I'm not really wearing purple in my troll shirt today. Alright. Ooh, that's, can you see how the purple has bled through the masking tape? I think I'm going to leave the masking tape on there maybe as a reminder that this stuff can possibly be evil and bleed onto other things. See the way that curls up? That's why I don't like winding this stuff on cardboard. Especially, this is only what, 3 yards? Yeah, 3 yards. I've had some things where I've ordered from like Lace Heaven where I've gotten 50 yards. And dealing with that curl and winding up 50 yards worth of stuff is just infuriating. There's probably a better way to do this. I just haven't figured it out yet. Because that happens with a lot of things. And this, again, it says Halloween. Maybe some people would think bugs are spooky Halloween, but I'm just a little disappointed that it's going that way. Because, like, if the bugs were oriented that way, then I would put this on a doll dress, like a border print, with no hesitation. I don't know. You think that would work as a border print, even though it's going across? Am I just too picky? Yeah, I'm too picky. And I am hoping that I'm not just deluding myself, that getting rid of all these cores will help me save space. Yeah, that didn't get through. Because greens and yellows. Purples and reds tend to be the colors that bleed the most in my experience, and I'm sure the aspect of purple that bleeds is the red. Let's see, can I cheat and do the inside of that? Probably not. And I understand this isn't the doll video, you watch me for doll stuff. And this is boring. Hopefully I'll have edited it to be less boring. Let's see. Hey look, more Halloween. This, I think, was also a gift. Because everyone I know seems like likes Halloween. And we're all into crafts, but a lot of us tend to buy things without actually doing anything with them, and then eventually they send them to me. And I might eventually do something with them, or I might find a way to store them, maybe. That's not in the way. My basic goal here is to be able to zip this suitcase without getting anything caught in the zipper. Some of these might end up staying on the spools because they're a little hard to classify, but like here's one that's printed perpendicular to the edge. So this one, if I remember that I have it, could easily get sewn onto a dress to make a mock border print. I think I did buy this one myself on Halloween clearance. It's wrapped on looser. Come on, come on, come on. Like I said, it's just a question of me remembering. I see a lot of people who sew Blythe clothes and ball jointed doll clothes, and or even clothes that you buy that Pulip is wearing, and they are just encrusted with lace and trim, and I always think, I could do that! The problem is I never remember that I can do that. It's not even a question of whether or not I remember if I have the trim. My brain just doesn't think about adding trim. This one I have used a lot on doll dresses. That's why there's so little of it left. This one I haven't used as much, even though it is the right direction that I feel like I could use it as a border print. Because like I said, orange, I like orange as a Halloween color. I have a problem sort of divorcing it from Halloween the rest of the time. But cats and bats aren't necessarily Halloween, and orange, not necessarily Halloween. Trying not to crimp it, but you know, you can iron ribbon. You just have to remember to set the iron at a really low heat so you don't melt this polyester stuff. I know I'm probably wasting time by like trying to organize stuff as I go. I know if you really have a lot to organize, you just start with the first thing and then go to the next thing. But I don't think I have that much. Like I said, some people probably heard me talking about, oh no, I need to organize my lace. And then they see I just have this fairly small suitcase. And they say, well, that's nothing. What are you talking about? I mean, yes, there's probably thousands of yards here, but I don't feel like it's a lot. Just because it does fit into this suitcase, and I'm trying to limit it to that amount. Again, this is sold as Halloween. Come come on. It's pink ribbon with black dots that have iridescent glitter on them. It's not Halloween, that's all the time. I just forget I have it. And I will tell you something, if I didn't have the camera on, if I were just sitting here doing this anyway, my brain would probably be thinking the exact same things I'm saying. I'm not left-handed, what am I doing? So, yeah, this is my brain. I might break it out and have one bag for printed ribbon and one bag for unprinted. But I'm not sure where to classify this. Should this be textured ribbon or should this be grosgrain / satin ribbon? For now I'm putting it in grosgrain / satin. Oh, it has a straight pin in it. Hold on, I need to get my pin cushion. Alright, can I slide this off? Maybe. I can tear it up. This is probably something that I should just, forever in the future when I get more lace on a spool like this, I should just immediately take it off. In theory, I will be able to restrain myself from getting more lace on a spool like this, but you know how hard it is to resist pretty things that could be useful. Could be. Oh, it doesn't tell me how long while I'm recording. Let's see. This, again, also Halloween stuff, but come on, for doll use, we've got black cotton Cluny lace. Even though it is cheap Cluny lace, it's still, for doll scale, you can't be too picky. And this, should I put it in my black lace bag or should I put it in my Cluny lace bag? Let's see, do I have precedent? Yeah, I have black lace in my... Okay, so this is my black Rochelle lace bag. And this is my Cluny lace bag. Of course, I have this too. This is a whole spool of, it says crochet Cluny lace, that was originally $2.29 a yard, but I got this in a thrift store for like $2, and it had, I think this is what this stuff was wrapped around. No, it was some orange elastic. But I couldn't resist this. I just need to remember that I have 18 yards of Cluny lace, black, to use for human or doll clothes. I don't know if this will help me in the future resist this stuff. When I think about, if you buy this whole handful of clearance Halloween ribbons, you will, 1, have to take it all off of the spool right away, and 2, you will just be filing it away with the stuff that you haven't used before. I really don't know what's faster, fighting it off the spool or taking it off and winding it off. Alright, let's see. This is more Cluny. When these, I think I bought a few of these at $1 each when they first appeared, but when these were still around after Halloween at 50% off, I bought out all of them that they had left. And you can see how much I've used them. I think it was just last Halloween I bought them. It might have been 2 Halloweens ago. Even if it was just last Halloween, we're still halfway through May right now, and I really haven't used much of them, so I need to get better about using things. Alright, this one I'm going to leave on the spool too, because the ribbon to spool ratio is still pretty good. This was something I bought a while back in the 90s. Big Lots had this weird closeout of sewing supplies. And this was like the kind of spool you would see on the rack at Joann Fabrics, like yards and yards and yards. And I had a pattern in the 90s where instead of facing the waistband, you just sewed on grosgrain ribbon and turned it over. It wasn't terribly comfortable, but it was easy. More Walmart Halloween Clooney lace. Come on, the last one of you slid off. I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing. I think I sat down in a slightly different location than I did before. Alright. I think I have one more of those. Alright, so I need to remember I can put all the Clooney lace I want on doll clothes. Here's a smaller spool of 7/8 inch grosgrain ribbon. I think this was 5/8 inch. No, they're the same. Anyway, you can see the spool to ribbon ratio is really different. This one can stay, but I am going to put it in the bag. This one, not so much. Okay, I am left-handed. This, another thing I've had for years, and another thing that oh, that's all done with plastic. Okay. The spool to ribbon ratio wasn't terribly bad on this one, but it's off. It came right off. These, I'm not sure if all the, what is this, 1/8 inch? I'm not sure if the 1/8 inch ribbon is worth taking out the spools, but I still have so many spools of that to take up a lot of space, so I don't know. Come back to those. Can you even tell that this is sequins? I think I've used this on like one piece of doll clothes. I bought these when tiny sequins first showed up as a thing. Yeah, there's not a lot on there compared to how much spool there is. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe my brain looks at these spools and thinks, oh, no, you shouldn't use that because it's on a spool. Because I know that I get to a point where once the spool has like this much on it, I start thinking, well, that's just a waste of space. But I don't want to use it all because I can see exactly how little of it I have left. I don't know. I don't know if my brain works that way. It'll be interesting to see if after doing this, my brain thinks about using trim more or not. Okay, let's see. Where should the sequins go? What does sequins look like? This is, that's textured trim. That's lace. This is Clooney lace. That's Clooney light lace. That's ivory lace. That's rickrack. bits and pieces. Bias. Oh hey, I already have print. No, those are printed, or did I count these as wire edged? Because they are. I'm not sure. Okay, I guess I will put the sequins in with the Clooney and other textured trim, because why not? Okay, then I have, this is also from Halloween, even though all it is ruffled polka dot ribbon that's gotten kind of mangled the way they put it on the spool. I actually have this in black too. And I did remember to use this on one doll skirt. I don't know if I can flatten it out any this way. I do know that putting it on cardboard allows it to just stay more coherent when it's thrown in a bag like this. But I have not been happy with putting it on cardboard, because I have a bunch of trims like in here that are on cardboard, and I almost never think of using them. Again, I'm not sure if that's because they are neatly on cardboard, or if it's just because I don't think about using trim anyway. So alright, is that all my spools? Oh wait, I'm going to go ahead and take this off the card. This is from Deb's Lace, that's why it's on the card, and why I had 5 yards of it. But it's just black satin ribbon that I did buy for doll use. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm not left-handed, because I try to be ambidextrous, and it just gets awkward. Alright, so this is, it's printed, but it's also wire edged. I know I can take the wire out. Okay, some of this, well, this isn't printed, but it's tartan, it's yarn dyed. Okay, so I guess I do have a bag of printed ribbon. It's kind of a small bag, though. Let me find... Yeah, that's not a good bag for this. Yes, I reuse plastic bags. Not for food. But for just about everything else, I keep on my plastic bags, and I cycle stuff in and out of them. I'm going to go ahead and count this as a print. It's a textured. Can I grab these? So this bag is printed and textured satin and grosgrain ribbon, which I have a few pieces that were in there already. I don't think I'm going to go with putting the organza ribbon in there, though. The organza can stay there. Alright. So, my foot's going to sleep. Throw my organizing up, because that's not where these things have been. Alright, so printed and textured there. Regular grosgrain there. Okay, this is bias trim. Most of it is still in the packaging. I'm not going to worry about that. Some of it is loose. A lot of it is, I know I've mentioned that if you get ruffled lace, buy ruffled lace, and find the back of it, if you look at it from the front, you'll see the way the lace is sewn to the header. It just looks like a regular stitching, but you turn it over and you'll see that it's a safety stitch, it's looped. If you start on the left, and if you can pull that thread just right, you can completely pull that off. Then you can take the lace off the header, and then you'll have flat lace. And you will also have yards and yards of tiny little bias. I'm blanking. What's this stuff called? Bias tape. Yeah, I've been sewing for over 20 years, sure. And this one was a eyelet. So it was this poly cotton. A lot of the Rochelle laces will be on this tulle bias, which you can find uses for it once you have it. So that's fun. So this was some double fold bias, or just plain, this was some bias that I thrifted that was vintage and all stained, and it was on a spool, and I took it off and I decided I would wash it, and I didn't think about the fact that washing it is gonna make the bias flatten out. But I found uses for this. Okay, but bias is not my favorite thing, so I'm gonna put that back there. And this is the textured embroidered trim, although I do see that I have some multicolor grosgrain in there, which I'm going to put in this new bag I've created for printed and multicolor grosgrain and satin. Because that's how my organization works. Like, oh yeah, that could go there. A lot of this stuff was thrifted or purchased. Alright, wait, I see some more printed grosgrain. Most of this is printed grosgrain or satin. That's not. Yes, this is kind of a mess. You see that's a theme that I have going, right? Alright, that's embroidered. Let's see here, that's grosgrain. And this. Another spool I need to work in. The Hallmark ribbon. I bet this is from around 2000. I worked in Joanne Fabrics 1999 into early 2000. And that's when the trend was to have fancy embroidered ribbon trim like this. Just rows and rows of it on the hem of your jeans. And we had so many people coming into the store just to buy this stuff to put on jeans. So that's what I think of whenever I see this metallic stuff like this. Is, oh, at Y2K, that was on your jeans. I think that's all the grosgrain. No, I think that's all the grosgrain and printed satin that's in there. And for no real reason, I'm going to go ahead and put this vinyl trim in here because it doesn't really fit with anything else I have. Also because I keep my 3 sets of 7 yards, although it's not full anymore, of velvet ribbon. This was back in my day. Walmart used to be a really great place to get really weird stuff. They'd have their dollar-a-yard cloth tables, which are what they call mill ends, which means that the companies that actually made clothes or sheets or curtains or other house furnishings would make all of their order and then they'd have leftovers. And a kind of company called a jobber goes in and buys those leftovers from the factories and then sells them on to other places. Like if you're familiar with Joann Fabric's red tag section and some of the really weird stuff they have in there, and if you say, I could swear I've never seen this in the store before, how did it get on clearance? No, you're right, it wasn't in the store before. It was bought, I'm sure Joann Fabric buys millions of bolts from jobbers every year, and then it was just distributed to the stores. So you might find something in one store and never see it in another store, because that's just the randomness of it. Anyway, so Walmart used to have $1 and $2 yard cloth that they'd just be tables of it, and I had so much of it, and I still have some of it because I'm not good at using the cloth I buy. But they also would have these little dollar packages of flat lace and trim, which mostly it was just a 10, sometimes 20 yard chunk of cheap lace. And most of it didn't bother me, but then sometimes you get this really nice, like this velvet, or Cluny, or even Venice lace sometimes. So, yeah, I'm not really sure I've made much room here, especially considering I still have these to deal with. So let's see, I'll put this back in the front. And there's a lot of stuff on the bottom of here, like random hunks of cord, which sometimes I remember and sometimes I use. But mostly the only reason I have it is because it was in a grab bag somewhere. Let's see. These I believe were sent to me. I might have a use for this fringe. I'm not sure about the sheriff's stars on dangles. So that's why those are in the side here, because they don't really go with any classification. This is just leftover little bits and pieces of lace left over from projects I've done. Every once in a while I remember I have these and I will just sew them up into one big blob of something else. This patchwork lace. So this is just my Rochelle laces. I guess I will go ahead and take this off the spool. I actually remember to use this in a doll dress I made just last week. Oh, it's a staple, okay. Come on, staple, stay in there. That could probably stand to be washed, it's very stiff. And then I have lace like this, which is, this was actually my mom's. And she got it, I'd say, in the early 70s. And it is wrapped around a, does this have a date on it? Encyclopedia Britannica ad with Lucille Ball on it. I don't know if there's a date on here of when you respond, when you how to respond to get your free mail card for free booklet. This is from back in the day when you had to buy your encyclopedias and they were expensive. And this is my rickrack bag, which this has more of that weird stuff you get from Walmart's dollar bag. Create a craft flat lace and trim. Like, isn't this wonderfully horrible? I had to have it even though I kind of hate rickrack. I don't know what it is about rickrack I don't like. but I still acquire it over the years, especially a lot of baby rickrack, including this vintage stuff, which is actually really tiny. But I forget to use it on doll clothes. Maybe you should just send me a message every once in a while, say, hey, have you used trim on doll clothes lately? Let's see, this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this off the spool, just because I can squish it into a new shape. If you can't tell, it's roses. Let's see. It's 3 yards originally. I don't know how much is on this now. This was also a gift. Thank you. And I need to use it. Let's see. Where should this go? This I might put in its own bag, just because 3D lace really isn't like anything else I have for that bag's too small. Alright, that it should fit in there. If I don't squish the air out of this stuff, it really won't fit. I guess I could vacuum pack it every time I use it. Again, this is from back when I was making the effort to wrap things on cardboard. It's not interesting cardboard though. There's no ads that are humorous in their ancientness. Although I think I did this around 2001 or 2002. So if I had used ads, it probably would be amusing. Like, see, I have bobble trim. That's the proper size for 6 scale dolls, and I just never remember to use it. I have some more now, actually. Again, this was I believe, a Halloween thing. So I have it in purple, and I always forget about it. Let's see, some of these I bought on purpose. Like this was Halloween, it was a lot brighter. I tried to dye it black, but because it's so heavily synthetic, it only took a little bit of black, but it did make it a muted orange, which is nice. I just have to remember it. This was Halloween. Everything else on here, I believe, were in grab bags from thrift stores, because you know that's my pattern by now, right? So, yeah, this is all, pretty much all Cluny or Venice style, heavily textured, cottony, or cotton-like lace, except I also have my, actually I wonder if I should just go ahead and put that this in its own bag, at least to keep it from tangling up quite as much. I won't cast this bag out adrift on its own inside the lace case, because then I would never see this stuff again. I have this stuff, and I wiggle in there. You see, my organization only barely counts as such. Sometimes I think that's great. It gives me more creative ideas of things I didn't expect to go together, end up next to each other, and they almost look good together. I should use those together, but most of the time it's just a mess. And then I have these that, did I thrift this, or did I get this from, I think I thrifted this. There's a lot of it. I might have gotten it from Lace Heaven, but it's actually, most of the stuff I've gotten from Lace Heaven has been a little stiff and scratchy. This I know I thrifted. And I always feel like I should use it for ball jointed doll clothes, but I always forget. And also brown and gray really aren't my thing, so I have to think even harder about using it. And I keep these in here in their own bag just because there's so much of it instead of putting it with the other Rochelle laces. This is my bag of ivory and white, all styles of lace. I have Rochelle lace. Okay, I did wrap this one myself on He and eat superkoi nur sarsan ka sag, an authentic Punjabi preparation of fresh mustard leaves with aromatic herbs and spices. Because I do like Indian food. So this has a lot of odds and ends that I've also gotten from thrift store grab bags. And I always think that this stuff would be lovely to use for a nice ivory and white ball jointed doll dress. But then I never even think about making anything like that because my brain doesn't work with lace and it doesn't work with neutrals. Like this I bought I thrifted a kind of battered tree topper angel that I cut this off the bottom hem, and then I used the tacky golden white brocade for a dress to make actual other doll dresses, and I think I even peeled the wig off of her head and used it as a wig for dolls. And then this is also something I thrifted. It was in 2 pieces. It's very, I don't know, it feels very 1970s. Because it was in this kind of old style packaging. But it also reeked of cigarettes. So I had to take all of it. I think I had like, I want to say 7 yards of this stuff out and wash it. But I have been pretty good at using this. I've made a lot of doll slips out of that. That was also the story with this stuff. It was thrifted and reeked of cigarettes and in several different pieces. So I washed it. Used a little bit of it. I forgot about it. And this is my elastic lace and elastic trim, which I actually have more of it in the tin that I keep my commonly used like Velcro and elastic things for doll use in. Most of this stuff, there was a Ben Franklin in my hometown that they obviously also ordered stuff from jobbers. And their cloth was really obvious. The one day I went 1 aisle over from the cloth and I found all this hideous lace and trim. And a lot of it was just so hideous I didn't even want to look at it. A lot of it was so hideous I had to have it, including yards and yards and yards of this wonderful underwear elastic that I've used on so many pairs of doll tights and leggings and stockings and stuff. So that was nice. And then I have this bag also. Again, I should use this on doll clothes. This was on a stained, like, crib-sized, was this the crib-sized? Yeah, I think this was on the crib-sized bed ruffle. And so I got it super cheap, took it off. I have a ton of it, haven't used it yet. This is another nice, I am not braining good. This is another nice eyelet lace that I think this was just on a pillowcase. I believe this one also came from a pillowcase. This has got some shine to it. Not a lot of it, but enough for doll clothes if I could just remember to use it. I know some of the thing about stuff like this, I feel like it's precious. Like I shouldn't use it because then I use it for something horrible and then I won't have it anymore. but that's still better than it just being in a box forever. And then these I got in thrift stores ages ago, in like also grab bags of stuff, and they're so nylon 1970s. I'm not even sure these could work for doll clothes. I'm not sure what you'd use these for in general anyway. But I have them, and I should figure that out. So I don't know if I made any progress. This suitcase does have this pocket in the front. I have tried to store stuff in there before, but this buckle is so difficult to work with. And it always has been. I got this suitcase like for Christmas when I was 11 or something like that. And it actually was where I stored my gem dolls for most of the time that I had them. And so it's still a little weird for me to have things in here that aren't dolls. But of course, everything is eventually used for dolls if it belongs to me, right? Okay. I'm probably going to cut out a big chunk of video here while I deal with these. Alright. Got these kind of wound back together. I'm not sure though if I should just cram them in here again, or if I should take them off. Although if I do take these off, I think I will be much more likely to very carefully wind them onto something, because these will get knotted in no time. I don't know, does that look like it's a cheat? I don't know if that was really worth all the trouble, but I did get those 4 spools worth of ribbon and that one bit of vinyl in. Now let's see if I can zip it. Alright, I know I can do better, but this is done for now, and I can put this away and have that little bit of floor space back. Thanks for having patience with me. I can't wait to see what you do with your lace. Bye.